Hey, I'm out in Nevada and I'm at a location I don't want to disclose, but I'm not too awful far from the famous Comstock Lode. Now, the Comstock Lode is a region and a district that's produced more than 10 million ounces of gold and more than 200 million ounces of silver. That's an incredible amount of precious metal. Now, I'm not right in town, but I'm out getting out to dig me some gold. This is an area, although it's close to a famous silver producing district, yeah, this little area where I'm at is not a big silver producer. It's more a gold producer. And I'm out here digging. Now, last year and year before, I've done some nice dry washing out here. And I would be out dry washing today, but I did a test last year. And, dry washing is a great thing. And I've had great success dry washing. I've got a lot of ounces of gold by dry washing, but I did a test last year. The gold here is really fine. And I did a test and it showed that dry washing only got 35% of the gold, which means 65% of the gold I could have been recovering went out in my tailings. That's not a good thing. So this is not a good choice area to go dry washing. So what I'm doing is I've got some gravel I've picked up and I've got several buckets full and I'm going to take it back to my house and run it through my recirculating sluice. Now I was going to actually take my recirculating sluice up here and set it up and run it and show you guys me running the recirculating sluice in the field, right? Which can be done. It's portable enough. But I was going to do a 2-day trip and, get out for one day and get the sluice set up and get it going and run some material. And then on the second day, I'd run some more material and then, get finished with the sluice and box it back up, clean it all up and take it back home. Well, the weather has changed. And so what was a 2-day trip has become a 1-day trip. And so, I thought, well, I don't want to cancel the whole trip just because the weather has changed. It's a great day today, wonderful weather today, but it's supposed to rain tomorrow and it's supposed to be much cooler and windy. And so not a good choice for going out and prospecting if you have a choice. And so I went ahead and just bucket this stuff up and I'll take it home and I'll process it at home. And I will show you guys me processing the gold and what I get out of it at home. And so I'm excited about getting out and getting some gold. But in spring, as you know, the weather is sometimes unpredictable. And you can make good plans and then, the weather turns against you. And that's kind of what happened. So I'm going to be doing the rest of this video at home. But I'm excited to get out because gold is over $3,300 an ounce. That means even if I only get a gram of gold, I looked, is almost $110 a gram. That's crazy. So, if I have some reasonable success here with my recirculating sluice, I should get a gram or better, and I'll be happy with getting out for, this is really the first time I've gotten out to do some serious prospecting. I've done a little bit of this and that already this year, but to spend some serious days prospecting, this is my first really day to get out in the field. So I hope you're excited to see this. You want to see me out there. The recirculating sluice is a powerful tool. The dry washer is better if the gold is coarse. I could process a lot more material faster in the dry washer if the gold were coarse. But the gold here is fine. It's small particles like 50 and even 100 mesh. And you don't get very good recovery at those size with a dry washer. But with my wet washer, my wet recirculating sluice box at home, I'll get decent recovery. So I'm excited to go out and do it. So let's take a switch. We'll go from being out here in the field in Nevada, out here not too far from Virginia City, and head back to my place where I'll run this material and see what gold I've got. Okay, I'm just feeding the material in with a scoop.
I was getting some wind noise here and I decided to just go ahead and narrate this. I'm adding the dirt in, as you can see, and I've screened it and cut it down to pretty small sizes so it goes through the sluice very easily. Now, I hadn't mentioned in talking about this to you to talk about why I was digging in this area. Actually, this is an area that's known for gold deposits, and I'm on the claim of a friend, and my friend, he's sampled around on his claim. He's basically taken dirt samples, soil samples here and there because it's on a hill, and taken samples and found that in places he's got some pretty good gold in the soil. Now it's all fine. It's not big coarse nuggets or anything. It's fine, typical of hard rock gold deposits, so many of them, and the ones that are found in that area. It's very typical of them. And so he sampled around there and found a number of places where the gold in the soil was pretty good. And he also sampled around there and actually found some veins by digging down into some actual hard rock deposits, because he dug down into them far enough that he was able to, basically use tracing, which is something that I've talked about in other videos. He used tracing to find where the gold is. And so there's a lot of soil there, and he's invited me, come up anytime you want and just dig some of the soil, and you can get some of the gold out, and it's not too awful far from my home. So that kind of explains why I like to go there. It's a good place to get gold, good place to visit with a friend, and it's not too far from where I live. It's just going in slowly. I feed it slowly through there, give everything a chance to roll through. I don't want it to pile up. Just let it slowly move through the sluice. And while we're talking about it, I should add that, going through and sampling the soil on a claim, especially a desert claim, but, somewhat true to other claims as well, but given a thorough sampling of the soil, especially in the hard rock area too, that's another thing, going through and doing some of that and maybe doing some tracing may yield surprising results. I mean, you may not be expecting a whole lot out of your sampling, but you may get much better results than you think. And at least if you get negative results, then it's not there, right? But if you don't take the tests and do the pan samples and see what you got, then you'll never know whether you got something that's hiding or not. And it could be a real valuable find, but you have to get out and test it, and that's part of the secret of striking gold. Okay, now let's switch angles around and give you a better look at the sluice. So here you can see the flow of the water in the sluice box. Now you might notice I've got some metal blocks and stuff up at the top of the box there, just downstream from the manifold where the water comes out. I've got those in there to kind of even it out. I need to take the manifold apart again and put some more holes in it and kind of try and even out the flow. But by putting the blocks in, you can see I get a pretty even flow down the sluice box. Now it takes a while to feed these in. I had 5 buckets that were about 2/3 full of gravel, and it takes me on the order of about 10 minutes per each block or each bucket, and I had 5 buckets, so that's a lot of material going into the sluice box there. Sometimes I have to mess with it and make sure that the flow evens out. I give it a few seconds to clear everything through. Don't want to feed stuff in so fast that it just gets blocked up there or gets in big clumps. And sometimes I have to adjust the blocks. They move sometimes while I'm feeding material in. But now this really is just a very simple thing. I mean, I bought a 12-volt water pump, 1,000 gallons. I think it's 1,000 gallons per hour type of pump, and it's 12 volt, and you can see the battery there along the bottom next to the tub. And it's a little lithium phosphate battery that has plenty enough juice to run this thing for a long time. And the pump is in a bucket in the tub, and it's in a bucket to help make sure that they don't suck sand and other things into the pump, which would damage the pump. But it makes a good flow, and the flow over the box is pretty even and pretty straight. And it wasn't really hard. Like I say, I made that manifold out of PVC pipe that I got from Home Depot, and you know, a little bit of spray paint to paint it red, and it's held on with little C-clamps, and then there's a hose. You can't really see the hose very well, but the hose takes it from the pump in the tub up to the manifold and then down again. And I've tested it, and it works really well. It was inexpensive to take a sluice box and turn it into a recirculator like this. Now, it took a good hour or so for me to add this material in because I didn't want to go too fast. I just want to take my time. And I don't want to make you guys sit there and watch me for a whole hour. That would be crazy. But you now have a good view of what the sluice box, my recirculating sluice box, looks like, and how it works and how I use it. So let's go ahead and skip forward to me panning through the concentrates and getting down to see what gold I've captured in this. Oh, and this sluice box, I want to mention that in the sluice box, I've got miner's moss underneath the riffles, and that helps catch the fine gold. That was another thing I did. So anyway, let's skip forward and take a look at processing the cons. Okay, well, I've run all that stuff through my sluice box. I've taken the concentrates out, and I panned them down, and I'm down to the last little bit of black sand and a little tiny bit of other stuff. The problem with this particular concentrate is that the concentrate, it has a good amount of black sand, and some of the gold actually has it has black sand or magnetic sand attached to it. Remember I said that there's a lot of hard rock mines in the area, and you know, the pyrite can actually decompose and turn into a magnetic iron oxides, because pyrite is iron sulfide, and by oxidation it can become iron oxides, right? It combines with air and water and becomes iron oxide when it oxidizes, when it weathers, and you end up with a lot of black sand. Some of the black sand is from pyrite, and it has gold in it or gold attached to it. So you got to be real careful when you're going through this stuff. And one of the things that I do is I pan carefully down as much as I can, and then I use a series of magnets. I start with a weak magnet, and then I go to stronger magnets. It just seems to work well. The weaker magnet will pull the strong magnet stuff out first, and then I use the strong magnet to pull the weakly magnetic stuff. What happens is if you start with a strong magnet, it just sucks everything in, and you're more likely to suck up gold as you're doing that. And when I use the magnet, I try to spread the black sand out so I don't have big clumps of black sand, and there make it more likely that I can just suck up a whole amount. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm working through it, and I'm in my backyard, and it's a nice shady spot in the afternoon, and I'm just going to work through this and get the gold. Now, I've done videos on fine gold recovery, and I'll put a link to the video on fine gold recovery up above so you can see it if you want to check that out and get more information on how to recover fine gold, because recovering fine gold can be difficult. And this stuff here, there's a lot of stuff that's in the 50 to 100 mesh, which is really small gold, and you know, you start getting that small and it's tough to recover. So I'm going to start working on this. Again, I'm working through, I'm shaking it down as much as I can, and then trying to get the light stuff to go off. I'm just going to work down as low as I can, because eventually as you're working it off, even if you're really careful, you start getting gold to you know, wanting to, yeah, it's doing what it's doing right now. The gold is in there, and it just wants to get up there and slide off with the rest of the stuff. So fine gold will do that to you. You see guys that, you know, are real fast, you know, splash the water all around.
that's fine. You can recover coarse gold that way. But if you're trying to recover fine gold and you're just shaking that stuff and getting yourself all wet, you're not recovering the fine gold. You'll get the coarse gold because the gold is so heavy. But if you want to recover the fine gold, you need to take your time and do it right. So anyway, I'm working on this stuff and I'll let you watch me. I'll kind of comment as I'm going. So I'm again shaking it down, trying to get off as much of the light stuff as I can. And then what I need to do is just get in there with the magnet and start sucking up some of the lighter stuff. So I'm going to start that right now. Like I say, I start with one magnet. This weak magnet is a magnet off of an old speaker, right? In the old days, speakers used to have magnets. I don't know if they still do, but speakers had magnets and they weren't very strong, most of them, unless you were getting some real strong thing. Anyway, I'm gonna start sucking some of the stuff up. Oh, and then I always shake the magnet. You know, once I do get some stuff sucked up, I will shake the magnet, and anything that's just too loose to stay attached will start coming off. Another thing about this gold is it has a lot of silver in it. You know, it's Nevada electrum type gold. You know, it's they had it in a lot of places like Virginia City. Remember, said I was gonna kind of be generally near Virginia City. So you see, I've got a pretty good amount. I shake it off to see if there's anything that'll come out of it. And the stuff that's stuck to the magnet, now because this is a weak magnet, the stuff that's stuck to the magnet is stuff that's strongly magnetic. I'm going to get rid of all the strong magnet stuff first before I go in with a more powerful rare earth type magnet. This is, I forget what they call it, it's an iron based magnet. It's not the rare earth type. You can get rare earth types in this shape, but this is not one of them. And see, I shake it and kind of spread things around. Anyway, that's the process. It's a slow process. I won't make you watch me do the whole thing, but I'll come back when I get out the heavier, powerful rare earth type magnet. But anyway, I'm getting the stuff that's strongly magnetic, getting that out of there, and that will help reduce the amount of stuff that's in there. And eventually, of course, I'll get to the more powerful magnet. So I'll be back after I finish this with the more powerful magnet. Okay, I'm ready to get started with the more powerful rare earth magnet. Now you might ask, well, how do you know when you're ready to switch from one to the other? Well, I was using the low power magnet, and I was getting to where, you know, initially I got a whole bunch every time I, you know, went in to check the pan with it, and eventually you get to where you're not getting that much out of it, right? And just not getting that much black sand attached to it. So when you're pretty much got what you can get with the weak magnet, you switch to the stronger magnet. And that's what I'm doing here. Got the stronger magnet, and I'm going to go in and then lightly try and suck up some of the rest of this stuff. Now this is the one where you got to be real careful, because you can easily suck up gold. And look, I just did suck up a little piece of gold with the more powerful magnet. And part of the reason that you can suck up gold with the more powerful magnet is the gold may have a little bit of magnetic stuff attached to it, and when you put a strong magnet, it's weak enough that that little bit of magnetic stuff will suck to the, it'll just carry the gold with it onto the magnet. So I got to keep a close eye on this, and I will continue to go over this thing. And also the same thing, once you get stuff on there, you want to shake it to try and get as much of the stuff that isn't gold off. And there was a piece of gold that... Anyway, again, I'm going slowly through this. I'm checking the magnet to see if I see any gold on it. And I can tell, boy, this stuff is... The stuff that I'm sucking onto the magnet now is different. It's smaller, it's finer, it's not as weakly, it's not as strongly magnetic. And so it's definitely a different product. But again, I'm going to go through this slowly, and then when I'm done with it, I'll dry the stuff and I'll show you what it looks like and what the total weight was. I'm hoping I got close to a gram here. There's some bigger pieces in there, so let me finish with this, dry it out, and then I'll show you on the scale and we'll talk about it next.
Well, here's the final result. I was hoping for a little more than a gram, and you can see I got a little more than half a gram. And as soon as I put 5 buckets of material in there, I got less than, or just about 1/10 of a gram per bucket, which is, not that great. And if you look at the gold on the scale in the little cup, you can see some little brown chunks in there. Those are actually oxidized pyrite that have a little bit of gold in them. So it's not that, I've got brown chunks in there. It's got, pyrite that's oxidized to rust and does have some gold in it. So that lowers my amount of gold even less. And what that really means is I need to go back up there and search for some better areas, take some tests and try and find something better. I got some ideas. I am going to go back up there. Like I say, my friend welcomes to have me come up there, and he's actually doing some videos himself for YouTube. He's going to start a YouTube channel, and I will let you guys know when he's ready to do that. Probably do an interview with him. But anyway, I got to go back up there and do more sampling, and that's one of the things about prospecting. No patch or a bit of gravel lasts forever. You're eventually going to come to where you're starting to get less gold, and you need to keep searching around and sampling and doing better. Not to settle for less, but to just get out there and do more sampling and get on to another good spot. So anyway, that's the result of this, and every test has a result, and the result of this was a little disappointing. So we'll be out again with a new search. Now, part of the thing about finding gold is the skill of finding gold and learning where to take samples and that kind of stuff, and learning how to find gold. So in order to tell you more about and improve your skills and impart to you the knowledge of finding gold, I wrote a book, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now. This is my book, Fistful of Gold. It's an encyclopedia of everything you need to know to go out and find gold for yourself. It distills down my 45 years of experience out in the field prospecting, as well as my degree in mine engineering. It's, like I say, an encyclopedia. There's a lot to it. It's over 250,000 words long, hundreds of pages with hundreds of illustrations, teaching you what you need to know about geology, about mining districts, about techniques of finding gold. It covers metal detectors, sluicing, panning, dry washing, high bankers, you name it, it's covered in there. It talks some about platinum and diamonds, but it's mostly about gold because gold is more widespread. It is not so much a book about where to find gold, but a book about how to find gold. Because even if you have a location where gold was mined in the past and you go out there, well, where should you look to be successful in your prospecting, to find the gold that's there? This is the book that's going to tell you that information. I spent most of 10 years writing this book, so I thought a long time about it. It's got, like I say, lots of information. and lots of illustrations, and I've had results from people who bought it. It's available on Amazon, but I recommend buying it through High Plains Prospectors, and I'll put a link in the description for buying this book through them. They have a better price than Amazon, and I have a special deal that I'll tell you a little bit more about, where you can get a 5% discount from the price even with that. On Amazon, the book rates a 4.7 out of 5, which means that of all the people that have bought it, they've been really highly satisfied, and I think you, if you buy my book, will be just as highly satisfied as well. Now let's talk a little bit more about High Plains Prospectors. They're a prospecting shop, a mail order prospecting shop that I've partnered with. The deal is that I can get you a 5% discount, a coupon code, and I'm going to put the code to that right here. It's just Chris Ralph, all caps with no space between Chris and Ralph. You put that in there as a discount code, and you'll get 5% off their already really good prices. I think it's a great deal where you win by getting a discount. I get a little percentage of that, and they get new business. So if you need prospecting supplies, High Plains is really the way to go. And I'll put information, like I say, in the description more about how you can work with them, because I'm working with them. They really are great guys, a great company. For even more information, I also have a website, and I'm going to show you my webpage and talk a little bit more about that right now. This is my webpage. It's located at nevadaoutbackgems.com. You can Google it, or I have a link down in the description below. But there's lots of information here, miscellaneous stuff, pictures, some historic information as well, stories. It's got a lot of great fun stuff. You'll probably be interested in it. Now, on all of my YouTube videos, I encourage you guys to ask questions. If you have thoughts, comments, suggestions for things that I ought to look at in my videos, things that you want to find out more about, and I answer 100% of my questions. There's not very many YouTubers out there that answer 100% of their questions. I'm one of the few. And so I will do my best to answer what you have. I mean, I only can write so much. Sometimes the answer is something where I'm going to recommend that you buy the book and read about it. I also ask that you subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification so that every time I come out with a new video, you'll be able to watch it. And like I say, I cover a huge amount of topics. I also have 250 videos that I've already done. And so you can go back through my catalog of videos on YouTube. I'm sure there'll be many videos there that you'll want to take a look at, especially if you have any interest in gold or platinum, diamonds, gemstones, geology, and that sort of stuff. My YouTube site is going to be right up your alley. So I'll see you again real soon. We'll be out in the field and I'm back in the office at the whiteboard, and whether we're looking at gold or platinum, diamonds, gemstones, or other interesting geology, it's going to be fun. You're going to enjoy it, and we'll see you again real soon.